Can he see me? Hold on. I just moved into a new office space, but don't get too comfortable because I'm only going to be here for like 3 months, and then I'm moving again. So we just got a new house, right? And we close on the 14th and we move in that week. On top of all of that and all the changes that's going on with the house and then the office, and then eventually I'm going to be working from home at the office. It's just a lot. This list today that we're going to be going over is not going to be as impressive as the summer list where we had 15 movies to discuss. Today we're only going to be talking about 5. I only had a chance to really watch 5 movies this fall, but we're going to be doing our fall ranking video today. Some of you might be asking, what are you talking about? Fall's not over yet. Okay, well, you know what? I'm not going by the astrological start of winter. Okay, I go by the meteorological start of winter, which is December 1st. And while there are movies that I really wish I could have seen this fall that I have not yet to see, like Saw X or Five Nights at Freddy's, or even more recently Napoleon, or Ridley Scott. Hello, Scorsese's, Killers of the Flower Moon. So let's get into the ones I have seen and let me rank all 5 movies I saw this fall. The first movie we're going to be talking about that I saw is The Exorcist Believer. So that comes in at last place. But, I saw it in IMAX, and it was loud, and it was booming, and the colors, and everything was just like really intense. And so I think that I suffered from an issue that I tend to have, which is when I see something on a much larger than life screen with big and loud speakers, it's a really good way of covering up how bad a movie can be. Because I saw this with my husband on a standard digital, and it was garbage. Upon the first viewing, I really didn't notice that much. It wasn't until the second time where I was really able to be like, oh yeah, see, how did I not see that the first time? And it's just really bad. It suffers from terrible writing. What a major misfire it was. Yeah, the character of Chris McNeil by Ellen Burstyn was absolutely atrocious. It was like they just did her dirty in many, many ways. This ridiculous line that they throw in about how it's like, why didn't they let her into the room when her daughter Reagan was being exorcised in the Exorcist film? She's like, I think it has something to do that I wasn't a part of their patriarchy. And I was just like, oh my God. This patriarchy that you speak of are the men that literally saved your daughter's life. Chris would have never have said something like that. Her character, it's almost like the writers just like said, oh, who cares what she was like in the original movie? Let's just make her this ridiculous character. It was like a parody of Chris McNeil. Something happens to her that makes her basically inoperable for the rest of the film. So she's not really used. She can't really be used at that point. And so, it's just like they just had her be in this movie so that they could throw her in for fan service. Another thing that I thought was really funny was just this ridiculousness of like what I like to call the religion Avengers. Everybody from all these different religions coming together in like one final fight for the demon. And while the idea is actually not terrible, I kind of like the idea of like all the different religious interpretations coming together to fight this evil. I thought that's actually a cool idea, but it was executed so badly. Like I said, it was almost shot like some kind of Avengers showdown. And I don't really think that that's the route they should have gone. It really comes to show how much superhero movies have completely fucked the film industry, because now everything has to be a spectacle. That's kind of what the superhero films have kind of done to the industry. Now everything has to be that. And it's like set the stage now for like what cinema's supposed to be. And now all these movies that literally aren't even superhero movies are being approached like a superhero film. And that's the main issue that I think I have in this. So the second worst movie that I saw this fall was The Marvels. The Marvels was a movie that had a lot of problems. Now this is another movie that I had that suffers from my IMAX condition. I saw this movie for the first time in IMAX 3D. And then I immediately filmed a review the next day talking about how I actually was entertained and how I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Then there was the second viewing. And I've never done this before. I've never seen a movie that made me go back and delete a video from YouTube. For those of you who might have noticed, my review of The Marvels, it ain't there anymore. I took it down. I disagree vehemently with what I said. In multiple ways. The movie was not good at all. Disney and, Marvel, just anything under the Disney umbrella, really. They don't know they're tanking their brand. They sit there and they're like, we're doing everything that we could possibly do. And it's not even about creating good and interesting characters anymore, solid character development like we saw in the earlier stages of Marvel. Disney does not believe in these things. And this is what I wish people would understand. They're so deluded to think that this is what they have to do to get people in the seats. But they're getting to a point now where it's not, and it worked at first, it was working. But now it's not. If Disney doesn't change gears after this catastrophe at the box office, I really think that they are probably too far gone. Their hat in this game is much bigger and it could pull so much more wool over people's eyes. And that's really what I'm getting at. So at the end of the day, we need to be fighting for real diversity in film. And we do that by supporting small independent studios who are actually trying to really add authentic and really interesting diversity, like really interesting stories. Stories that, teach you something about another culture that you might have not have known before. You're not gonna get that from Disney. What you're gonna get that from though, is in a movie like the one we're talking about next, which is It Lives Inside. I put this one right in the middle, but we're at the point now where we're actually getting to the goods. These are my top three of the fall, and it starts with It Lives Inside. That made me fall in love with the culture and just watching and learning. This is what authentic diversity looks like. It's not capitalizing on an agenda or an ideology. It is a story coming from the perspective of a Indian filmmaker who wrote and directed this and created something truly spectacular. It's a coming-of-age story, right? That uses horror as a catalyst. And I think that's, in a lot of ways, my favorite types of horror stories are the ones that do that. With this one in particular, it's a coming-of-age story with a woman who is trying to distance herself from her Indian heritage. And she learns that she can't quite do that. And it actually requires her to fully embrace her heritage in order to fight this thing. And it's absolutely perfect. It tells an actual story, something that can make you feel something. This is what cinema used to be. This is what horror used to be. This is just in general what film I think should be. And it made me feel kind of an urge and a longing to study and read up on this particular culture. So it did its job. The next movie on the list, which is number 2 on the list, is No One Will Save You. No One Will Save You. It's a little bit of a cheater because this was an original streaming film. It wasn't in theater, so I watched this one from home. It's the only one that I watched from home. Now, first of all, anyone who knows me knows that I am obsessed with aliens. No One Will Save You is almost kind of like a silent film. And there's something really eerie about it because she doesn't talk. There's really no dialogue. And she only says one line in the entire movie. And when she says it, it hits. It's just really interesting because, everybody in this town hates her because of something she did. And now she's on this land and there's really nothing she can do when these aliens start invading her house. So it's almost like a home invasion film mixed with an alien invasion. So it's like an alien home invasion, which is really neat. There was this really wild kind of ending of how it left off, which really makes you think, about this kind of complex that people have of do we fake it until we make it? Or, do you just accept the world as it is and you would rather live in a world where everything is fake than having to truly come to terms or embrace the things that you've done. It was just really good. Really, really good. There's so many ways to interpret it, as most art should be. So good. Now, number 1 on this list is a movie that I saw twice and cried both times. I cried so hard the first time on those last few frames, like the last 5-10 seconds. I audibly, like I couldn't like breathe. I had to catch my breath because I was crying so hard. That never happens, but it was the creator. The creator. What a spectacular film. Apparently it was kind of polarizing and divisive, which I don't understand. The critics didn't love it, which is really weird to me because it was literally like one of the best movies I have seen in that particular genre ever. It had so much heart and emotion and depth. This whole concept of robots kind of, like, or AI fighting for their rights, it's been done before. We've all seen The Matrix, so it's kind of derivative. Yeah, sure, but what they did with it was really unique. And I really liked a lot of the technology that like they used in the film. Like, this whole concept was really interesting is that they used like this, that you could like download your consciousness and like put it on like a USB drive and then like plug it into like this machine, and they can like, plug it into an AI and then like they could talk as that person for a short period of time before they die off. It was just like, there's just all this really cool technology that was used and all these interesting concepts. Great acting. I don't know where I would place it in my year round films because there were some really good films that I saw this summer. And we're going to go over all that at the end of the year when I do my full year ranking, which is going to include the spring, summer, fall, and winter. I never made a spring video. With The Creator being number 1 on this list and Oppenheimer being number 1 in the summer, how do they compare? Well, that's no question. But I would like to see how all of these films compare when stacked up against each other for the final ranking, which I will be doing at the end of this month. It's going to be busy for me because I'm going to be moving into the house, but it'll all work out. We'll get some new content filmed for you. I have some ideas, things to do, and then once I move into the house, I'll still be working here until February after the premiere of Culturegeist. Once it's done. Yeah, so my film Culturegeist is in the final stages of post-production now, and we're projecting to premiere it sometime in March or April. So, well, we're premiering it locally here in February. So if you live in the Atlanta area, reach out to me if you want to see it. Otherwise, it'll be posted on my YouTube channel around March or April. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.